American soccer is weird here on Morning Kickaround. I'm Robert. He's Jason. When we were live on Monday morning, longest tenured MLS coach, Peter Vermes, was let go in the segment in which we were talking about, is he going to get let go? And he was. And so we were kind of in the moment there. So we wanted to take another segment and kind of reflect on some of the things that have happened during his 16-year span as the Kansas City head coach. His time in the league spans longer than that, but during his time, 16 years, started in 2009, a whole lot has changed within Major League Soccer, and just to kind of show the impact and just the era, the legacy that he has put together, and the longevity, we're gonna like do a compare and contrast of where the league was when he started in '09 compared to where we are now.
Well, I mean, before I throw up a bit of a graphic helper here, I'll throw in this number that I wasn't able to put in the graphic. Our producer, Jenny, pulled this together. 138 unique head coaches in Major League Soccer since 2009. Now, if you take out the interim coaches, the guys who were only on the job for a short-term period and weren't going to get the permanent job, it's 104. So that's 104 coaches have come and gone since Peter Vermes, or have been hired, I suppose, since Peter Vermes got the job or took the job himself, because he was the sporting director of then the Kansas City Wizards, and I believe it was Kurt Anolfo that got fired. People in the chat can check me on this. Kurt Anolfo got fired, and Peter Vermes hired himself as head coach in addition to the sporting director job he was already doing in Kansas City. And yes, this was the first year of the Seattle Sounders in 2009 when he took that job. I will throw this up there. Here we go. How MLS has changed since Peter Vermes became head coach of then the Wizards. Then obviously I could have thrown up the two logos. I didn't do that. I should have. Number of teams in 2009, 15. We have doubled the number of teams in Major League Soccer since Peter Vermes took that job in Kansas City, and now he is out. The average MLS, now this is average. I would love to find the median. Wasn't able to get that, but the average salary was $122,000 in 2009. And remember, David Beckham was making $6.5 million, the highest paid player.
That
in
might
the
bump
league.
that up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, there were players that were pulling that average up, and I believe roster spots were more limited, so even that sort of skews this number. Now the average, again, not the median, but the average salary is nearly $600,000. That's a big jump. That's a significant jump. We made a lot about this back in the day, and I think 2009 we still had those developmental roster spots that were like $14K a season. I think remember Stuart Holden was famously a developmental roster player in Houston. He was making $14K or something like that.
That's an internship. That's a summer internship.
It absolutely is. The senior roster minimum in 2009 was $34,000. Now it's $104,000. A little bit easier to live on $104,000 than on $34,000. Mm-hmm. And this is a good point too. And I wanted to, again, I didn't put the number of rebrands in this graphic, but Maplewood Vineyards, multiple teams have done multiple rebrands during that time. And we've had teams that have changed their brands twice to that point in the time that Peter Vermes was in Kansas City as the head coach. The number of specific soccer-specific stadiums, say that 3 times fast, soccer-specific stadiums, 7 in 2009. 7 out of 15 in 2009. 22 out of 30 in 2025. And that does, obviously that doesn't, you've got Seattle playing in a football stadium, Atlanta playing in a football stadium that they use to good effect, that they put a lot of people in. The Revs playing in a football stadium is not as good an effect, but those are outliers now. Those are the weird ones now. We've got soccer stadiums all over the country. It's pretty incredible. And then again, I should have gotten the Sporting Kansas City graphic, but here is your difference in MLS logo. Remember that logo? That logo?
Yeah. There's no questioning what sport MLS was for with the one on the left there. There's no doubt about it. And just in general, which one do you like more?
I'm partial. I mean, I've become partial to the new one. The kickstand thing is so weird. I'm not sure exactly what that's all about. Why there's an extension of that sash that splits up the badge. I don't know what the 3 stars mean. They probably told us. They probably
Major
stand for
League Soccer.
Oh, that's pretty good. No, they probably stand for like fidelity and integrity and buzzwords like that, important buzzwords like that. Yeah, the old one the old one makes me think of like Direct Kick or whatever that was called on Direct TV or whatever the TV package you would get to watch MLS back in the day, or MLS Live I think it was called before they when they had their own streaming platform. Yeah, actually, Nicholas Murray does have the juice on this. Club, country, and community are the 3 stars in the current badge for Major League Soccer. And it is not just numbers, right? It's not just these numbers that sort of indicate how much Major League Soccer has changed. There's been so many big name players have come through. The league has done a decent job of sort of getting itself to a higher level of notoriety, both here and abroad. Now, they are hitting a wall with being behind a paywall, putting themselves behind a paywall, and there's lots of things. And, when we talked about Vermes getting fired on that show on Monday, we got a comment from somebody who said, he's been playing a 4-3-3 since time immemorial, since he got the job, basically, and he hasn't changed his approach within that 4-3-3. The 4-3-3 is common. Lots of teams play it, but it's the way they use it. And the argument is that, Peter Vermes is sort of stuck in older tactics, hence that reference to outdated tactics in the supporters group letter that we read on the show on Monday before finding out that Peter had been fired. What I would also love to have done is pulled up a picture from 2009 of Peter Vermes and compared it to a picture of Peter Vermes from now, because people age in 16 years. I'm sure he doesn't look the same. I think the hair was maybe a little bit darker, but the haircut has not changed.
No, he's got a definitely a familiar look, and yeah, just the hair color has gradually lightened over time. Um, do you think that his there's a question in the chat about national legacy, and I know that since the failings of the national team in 2018, his name got bandied about whenever there was a debate of who should be the next coach, and if you should hire an MLS coach. Peter Vermes typically lands on that short list of like, who should we do it? Why would he want it? He has everything he needs at SKC. Do you think now that SKC is not his main employer, does getting fired hurt his viability for that job in the future?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely does. I think that there is a phenomenon that happens. I think it happens with coaches. Obviously, it happens with players, where once you are no longer perceived to be part of the group because of some interruption in your development, or you hit some obstacle that sort of makes it more difficult to imagine you're still on that same trajectory, you're done. You're out. Like, for example, when we did when I was doing the Best Soccer Show last week, I talked about picking a U.S. men's national team roster of guys who have something to prove, because one of the things we talked about with this window was that it seemed to be a lot of guys who weren't putting the necessary effort in, right? So hey, let's pick a bunch of guys who are going to give a full effort. And I put Aaron Long on that team. And Aaron Long's 32 years old. I mean, he's not old for a center back. And I had talked to him on the radio, and he said, I've hit all the metrics that I had before I had my major injury. But he had a major injury. He tore an Achilles, I believe. And once that happened, people just kind of eliminated him from consideration in their minds. And he's not getting called. Now, it's not impossible to imagine that Pochettino would give him a chance if there's some sort of center back crisis. But nobody thinks of Aaron Long as a candidate. They might even consider Walker Zimmerman more a candidate than Aaron Long. And Walker Zimmerman kind of feels, I think that's probably the case for Peter Vermes. Like, I think it would have to be it would be 6 or 7 people say no to the job before they would get to Peter Vermes at this point. And that's probably not fair to him based on his abilities as a manager, but he did, he did struggle for a number of seasons in Major League Soccer. And it does feel like that falls on him, both because of, the actual results, and the tactical things and all that, but also because he was responsible for helping put together the roster. He complained this year, or he said sort of directly this season, we didn't spend enough. We're going to have to spend more to be competitive. And that's out of his control, whether the Illigs want to put more money into this team. But there are teams that spend in similar ways to Sporting Kansas City, and I'm thinking about RSL here, and I'm thinking about a couple other teams who do much better year to year than Sporting Kansas City have done.
So, I mean, is this so SKC? Obviously, for fans, there's probably most of the fans have. He's been the coach the entire time that they've, engaged with the team. I mean, certainly, my engagement with Major League Soccer, he's always been there. Do you think that? I mean, obviously, I'm sure the fan base is excited for change because the results have not been what they've wanted for a number of years. Does this allow the opportunity? Is SKC gonna, be on the upswing with the change, or is it a little bit of scary times because you've always had that figure to lean on?
Well, I mean, it takes, I'm not going to say courage, but it obviously takes, it's a bigger lift to make a change when somebody has been there for so long, because you get into this situation of nobody knows how to do anything. It's not like Peter Vermes, and Kerry Zavagnin's been his assistant for a long time, so that does give them a little bit of a bridge to the next era of the team. But I do think you have a problem of just sort of everybody took for granted that Peter was going to do it. He was the man in charge. He was making the choices. And now you have to go find somebody else to do that. And somebody's going to come in and say, okay, where's this to do the other, I need a tool to do this thing, or hey, where's some of the information I need to do my job as head coach or sporting director. And right now, Mike Burns is taking over as their chief soccer officer, but I don't know that that's permanent. That person who comes in is going to say, where's the, what, how do I do what I need to do? And then people are going to go, I don't know. Peter did that. I don't know. It does Peter. They're going to call up Peter and say, hey, Peter, where did you put your stapler? Like, I can't find it right now.
Yeah, can you unlock the cabinet in the back of the office?
Can you tell me where you kept the extra Post-its? Because I'm out and nobody knows where they are, or even how to requisition them, because it was always Peter Vermes doing those things. So I do think that there's that, right? You get comfortable. And that's probably why it took so long for Sporting to make this decision. They were comfortable. And the relationships are so strong. Right, the reason that managers get fired is because results go badly, but nobody who makes a decision to hire a manager is sort of intimately connected to that person. It's sort of like, oh, you're just a guy doing a job, and then we didn't get the results, and we only measure success around here by our results in the field, and your results are bad. Thank you for your time. Go away now. But Peter Vermes, again, chose himself to be head coach, made all those decisions, obviously worked intimately and closely with the Illigs for so long. It's like firing your brother, right? It's like that. It's like firing your son. It's like choosing to part ways on bad terms, because it's a ugly thing to have to do with a family member. And now you got to start over. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
You go from the hero to the villain over time, right? And he got to the point of the back end where his favorability level was low. And I was saying on Wednesday, like the moment before we got the news was, would it be easier on the club that obviously he holds close? Would it have been easier for him to have stepped away when the results weren't
okay?
What they wanted?
The press release said mutual consent. I believe that's, hey, Peter, we're going to fire you. Can we put it's mutual in the press release? And he's like, yeah, I'd rather have it be mutual than for you to say you fired me, right? Of course. I don't know, but unless he's going to go public, and he's probably not going to do that, right? He's probably still hurting from the end of this. Unless he's going to go public and explain, yeah, I fell on my sword because I love the team and it wasn't working anymore. I don't know that really has any benefit. I don't think anybody is happy to see the end of this, because I think Kansas City fans would rather have Peter Vermes succeed than have it be like this, so they could keep going with him. But I think everybody recognizes this is the end. I will say that one thing we tend to do with managers, particularly ones that have been on the job for a long time, when they leave or when they get fired, or when it's like they're dead. He's not dead. Peter Vermes is very much alive. He's still around.
If he has viability for the national team job, so
he has
to be living for that.
I think he's going to be working in soccer in very short order. Like there's a chance that he could land on Sirius XM FC with me on some other show. There's a chance he will be on television with MLS Season Pass. I think that's almost a certainty.
Yeah,
that he will do some appearances there. He could do his own thing. He could end up getting the next CSO job that opens up. I don't know what his appetite is for coaching at this point, but if there's a job that opens up, I mean, could Montreal do worse than Peter Vermes? Absolutely, they could do worse than Peter Vermes. I don't think he's going to Montreal, but that's an open job right now, and there will be more. And somebody's going to say, "Hey, Peter Vermes is out there. Why don't we give the man a call?" Now, the other thing that might happen is it ends up being a Dom Kinnear. Dom Kinnear, after his tenure ended in Houston, he ended up kind of moving to the side, despite his success as a head coach in Major League Soccer. He got moved to the side and he became a top assistant for Cincinnati under Pat Noonan, a younger coach in a different generation. And I think that's been invaluable for Pat Noonan. And as much as I think it sucks that Dom Kinnear's not considered a candidate for head coaching jobs at this point, and I don't know how out there he's putting himself, that could happen to Peter Vermes too. You could end up seeing him on a staff somewhere serving as a number 2.
In review, during his tenure, Sporting Kansas City won the 2013 MLS Cup and did the double that year with the Open Cup, and then won Open Cups in 2012, 2015, 2017, guided the team to 11 playoff appearances, including 8 straight from 11 to 18, 4 first-place finishes in the regular season in that span, and the era post Peter Vermes begins on Saturday when SKC takes on St. Louis in Major League Soccer action.
Yeah. Kerry Zavagnin gets into a rivalry match for his first game in charge. That's going to be interesting.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. If you have not hit subscribe yet, please do so now. Join the MK Ultras. Help this community grow and help this show become richer and fuller, and then that'll kind of help us become sustainable, and then grow the future of the program, and make it better for all, and make a more robust American soccer conversation. Thank you to everyone who's already hit subscribe, and to those who have hit that thanks button that enables you to donate funds to the program. You can follow along on social media at MKickaround on X, Instagram, Blue Sky. Write us a note on morningkickaround@gmail.com. And you can also get a bonus content and be able to donate to the show, coffee.com/morningkickaround. And one more additional note, we are a podcast now. Morning Kickaround. On your favorite audio platform. So if you aren't able to put us up on your YouTube, bring us up on your favorite podcast platform. Just search for Morning Kickaround. And there's another thing you started this morning. There's a Discord now, right?
I did. Okay. That was an internal message meant to be like as a placeholder. Hey, maybe we'll use this. But if people want to access the community and join up on the Discord server, we will make that available, I think, in the near future to supporters of the show, to financial supporters of the show.
So in short, subscribe to Morning Kickaround. Hit thanks if you're able to. Follow us along on social media at MKickaround, or get some bonus content and help support the show at coffee.com/morningkickaround. So I think that does our Wednesday. Plenty of soccer on the telly and around the communities until we come back on Friday morning. So until then, everybody, please enjoy your soccer.